The night was too quiet, not the peaceful kind, the dangerous, thick, heavy silence that feels like it is sitting on your shoulders, pressing down, and you were standing in that silence. A narrow dark alley stretched behind you, and in front of you stood a giant iron gate. Your hands were trembling as you held the handles of two huge heavy suitcases. Your arms were sore, your shoulders hurt, and your heart was beating so loudly you could hear it in your ears. You had not told your sister Yuna that you were coming at her place. You wanted to surprise her. It had been just a month to her marriage, and it was going to be your first visit at her in law's house. You looked around and gulped down. Come on, Ryan, don't be a baby. You let out a shaky breath and laughed nervously. It is just a little darkness, yeah, just darkness, nothing else. Your fingers slowly reached into your coat pocket and you pulled out your mobile phone. Your hand shook as you turned on the flashlight. A white beam of light cut through the darkness, revealing cracked pavement and tall shadowy walls. You took one small step forward and then another. Your suitcase wheels made a strange rolling sound that felt too loud in the quiet night, and then you lifted the light upward. Your eyes widened and your lips parted. In front of you stood a huge black mansion. It was tall, white, and cold looking. You stared at it like it might disappear. Oh my! You whispered to yourself while blinking rapidly. Don't tell me this is her in law's house. You laughed softly, but it sounded more like fear hiding behind your humor. You looked left, then right. There was no other building, just this mansion. You adjusted your grip on the suitcase handles. But there is no other house here. How do people even live in something this scary? Your feet moved forward before your brain could change its mind. The sound of gravel filled the air as you reached the giant gate, and then two huge shadows moved. Two large, bulky guards stepped out from the darkness. They were tall, muscular, and broad shoulders. They looked like they could lift you with one finger. One of them lifted his hand. Stop. You froze and your heart jumped straight into your throat. Your lips trembled, but you tried to smile politely. Hee hee, hi. The taller guard looked down at you and his expression became hard. Who are you? You felt yourself shrink under his gaze. Me? Oh, I am Ryan. My sister Yuna, she lives here. The guards exchanged a suspicious look. The taller one crossed his arms. Hey, little creature, we don't entertain strangers at this hour. You blinked. No, no, I'm not lying. Wait, let me call Yuna. They both sighed, completely annoyed. You quickly unlocked your phone and started dialing Yuna's number. Your fingers trembled so much that you almost dropped the phone. Pick up, come on, Yuna. You bit your lip at the same time. In your head you were mentally cursing Ryan in her mind. Great, thank you Ryan for this brilliant idea. Surprise with us. Huh? Amazing. Now you will get thrown out like a criminal. The guard stared at you silently. The car rang once, twice, and thrice, but no response. Your jaw dropped. You dialed her number once again, but still no answer. You looked at them and forced a cheeky smile. Hee hee, I think she's sleeping. You lifted your phone awkwardly. You tried smiling, but it didn't work. You sat pouted, and then idea popped into your mind. Wait, let me show you the proof. Your hands moved too fast as you opened your photo gallery and turned the screen towards them. It was your sister's wedding picture. Yuna in a beautiful white wedding gown while you were standing beside her, taking a selfie while clicking your tongue. One of them almost laughed as you were looking so funny, he said to the other. I guess she's not lying, but still we should inform boss first. The other one nodded. The taller guard turned and walked towards a separate black door built into the wall. Your heart dropped. Boss? What boss? As the taller guard reached the large mysterious door, he stopped and then knocked gently. It was a door almost everyone feared. He knocked twice. Knock, knock. Inside the room, someone set a glass down softly. A deep, husky voice spoke. Speak. The guard swallowed and explained everything. A young girl is at the gate with two suitcases. She is claiming to be Mr. Richard's sister in law. Silence. The guard heard the sound of wooden chair creaking from inside. A husky voice said, let her come in. The guard bowed slightly even though the person was not looking at him. Yes, boss. He turned and walked out. Meanwhile, you were shifting nervously from one foot to other. The guard returned and looked at you. Hey, you can go inside. You blinked. Oh, really? He nodded uninterested and unlocked the huge gate. Your lips curved into a small, relieved smile. Thank you. They didn't respond, but you didn't mind as finally they were letting you go inside the mansion. You dragged your suitcases inside slowly. The mansion looked even bigger from inside tall windows, dim yellow lights, black pillars, and ancient paintings. You pulled your coat tighter around yourself while looking around. Yuna, are you there? No answer, your voice echoed back at you, making your heart beat faster. You looked around slowly. The shadows on the walls looked like they were moving, and the curtains were swaying slightly because some of the windows were open. You had come thinking it would be fun to live with such a big family, but there was no one, no laughter, no voices, just darkness slowly swallowing the mansion. Your fingers loosened around the suitcase handles and then you let them drop onto the marble floor. You whisper to yourself, trying to sound brave. Maybe they all are upstairs? Your feet felt heavy as you slowly walked towards the grand staircase. Your eyes remained glued to the dim light coming from the upper room. When you reached the landing, you noticed a slightly open door and your heart jumped. You slowly reached out your hand and touched the handle. Yuna, I am here. Before you could even turn it, someone grabbed your wrist. You gasped softly, a deep cold voice spoke near your ear. So who sent you here, hmm? Your breath shook, you tried to speak. No one, Before you could finish, he said, did Zack send you or Mason? You felt your throat close up. What? No, no one sent me. Spill it. Who sent you here? His voice turned harsh as he raised his voice. You got scared and your eyes filled with tears. You tried to blink them away, but they spilled over. One silent tear rolled down your cheek and he sighed. You didn't even say anything, you just began crying. Well, the man was Jungkook, your sister's brother-in-law. Yuna and Mrs. June had went to a kitty party and only he was home. Seeing you crying like that, he felt something strange in his chest. He leaned closer, but you stepped back, crying more loudly. He blinked. He was not sure how to stop you crying. Suddenly, the sound of laughter reached your ears from down the stairs. You recognized them instantly. It was your sister's voice and her mother in law's soft laugh. You moved away from him and your feet almost missed a step because of your tears. As soon as you reached the living hall, you saw Yuna. You cried louder and rushed towards her. She looked at you with wide eyes. Before she could process anything, you hugged her tightly. Mrs. June, who had just removed her shawl, turned around in shock. She stared at you. Jungkook walked into the hall quietly from behind. He stopped when he saw you hugging Yuna. You held you carefully and pulled back a little. Hey, Wyatt, you are here, but why don't you inform me? And why are you crying? Your hands tightened in her dress, and then you lifted your shaking finger and pointed behind you at Jungkook. Mrs. June followed your gesture, and her expression turned serious. She looked at her son. Jungkook. Jungkook slowly shook his head. Mom, I didn't. You cut him off. He scared me. There was silence, and then Yuna let out a small laugh. She gently cupped your cheeks and wiped your tears. Ah, Wyatt, you are so funny, and Jungkook is always like this. He has rivals, that's why he is extra clear, she said, smiling warmly, trying to lighten your mood. Mrs. June looked between you and Jungkook. Jungkook sighed and turned back to the upstairs. After a while, dinner was quiet, but for you it felt way too long. Whenever you looked up, you saw Jungkook already looking at you. You tried to ignore it, but your heartbeat betrayed you. You gulped and slowly ate the food. Your fingers tightened slightly around your spoon while your cheeks were heating up. He leaned back slightly in his chair, and a small, dangerous smirk appeared on his lips. You almost choked on your water. After dinner, you excused yourself quietly. You walked down the hallway to the guest room. As soon as the door closed behind you, you pressed your back against it. And then that memory hit you, his dark eyes. You shook your head lightly. No, stop thinking that, Wyatt. Stupid. You walked towards the bed and sat on it for a while, trying to calm yourself down. After some time, you decided to get some water as you felt thirsty. You stepped out into the quiet hallway. The lights were low, and then the soft sounds reached your ears. You slowly steps. The sound was coming from one of the rooms. You moved closer with hesitant steps, and then you peeked inside. It was Jungkook's room. The curtains were drawn, and the room was dimly lit. You looked little down, and your eyes widened. Jungkook was on the floor doing push-ups. His back moved slowly with each movement, and his muscles were flexing. You swallowed hard, and your fingers tightened on the door frame. You never saw such a handsome man in your life. You kept staring at him with wide eyes. You liked it that much. Your heart jumped into your throat. He was looking straight. Then come, how come he saw you? He slowly turned his head towards you, already aware of you. You panicked and turning around, you ran down the hallway without sparing him a glance. Jungkook chuckled to himself. After a while, everyone gathered in the garden. Fairy lights were hanging between the trees and the table was set in the center. It was a warm family gathering. You were standing beside Yuna while helping her arrange teacups. She handed you a tray. Hey, Ryan, careful, okay? They are hot. You nodded with a shy smile as you saw Jungkook staring at you. You carefully placed the tray on the table, bending down, but the moment you tried to stand fully, your brother-in-law, who was on call, came from behind and bumped into you. You gasped as your body lost your balance, and before you could even stop yourself, you fell upward. Oh my! Jungkook froze, he sucked in a breath. You gulped down. Your cheeks burned hard and you pressed your hands on the table for support as you didn't want to stumble back. His heart felt like it was going to break out of his chest. I am really sorry, you muttered and stood up. Jungkook sighed in a relief the moment you stood up. You stepped back and said, "Oh, I forgot to bring snacks." You turned and almost ran inside. Your heart was beating so fast it hurt. As you left, Jungkook also stood up, saying, "Oh, I remembered. I need to make an important call." He stood up and ran inside the mansion, leaving everyone startled behind. Mrs. June leaned closer to Mr. June and said, "Seems like something is blooming inside the heart of our son." Mr. June nodded his head while chuckling. Meanwhile, you were holding the kitchen counter while letting out shaky breaths. You pressed your hand on your chest. Your heartbeat was loud in your ears. Suddenly, a soft voice spoke behind you. "Hey!" You jumped shocked. You turned around to see Jungkook. He was staring right in front of you, his lips curved slightly. Your eyes widened, but you didn't reply as you couldn't form the words because he had said that to you. He took a slow step towards you and then another. He tilted his head slightly, studying your face, your cheeks. He lifted his head slowly but didn't touch. "They are really red." You looked down and they got even more redder. You gathered courage and said, your voice was small but honest, "I didn't sit deliberately." He looked at you for a second and then he nodded. A playful smirk was dancing on his lips. "I know." Your breath hitched and you felt frozen. "I know." The moment my eyes fell on you, I knew you were going to be a trouble. Your lashes fluttered and then suddenly he leaned closer. After a while, "You are mine now, remember that," he whispered. With a smirk, he walked away, leaving you startled behind.